going to create a custom reward. We're going to follow the steps here on the documentation. You can get to the documentation by going to infinitypbr.com and clicking the docs button, scripting docs button right here at the top. And you'll come to the documentation where there is plenty of information to help you out. So let's get right into it. We're going to start by creating our quest reward, then our quest reward editor, and a quest reward drawer. Those are the three scripts we need. It's pretty easy. There's not much going on for each one. So we're going to start by, instead of creating scripts by scratch, we're just going to copy them. So I'm going to navigate down outside of my demo project. We're going to go to the quests folder inside game modules, and we're going to look at the editor scripts. We see all these objects here. You can already see that they are similarly named with drawer, editor, etc. And then we also have these scripts down here, which are the scriptable objects themselves. So we have the editor scripts, two versions of each of the drawer and the editor, and then the actual scripts down here. So we're going to copy the point reward, and we're going to call this condition reward. This reward is going to give a condition to a player. Now we do need to change this stuff, and of course this is in the documentation. It is right here what we need to change. So let's go ahead and do this. We're going to start by make this condition reward, game modules, quest reward, condition reward for the menu item to create it. We're going to rename this to be condition reward, and we are going to comment this out for now, and we're going to keep the give reward. We're going to comment this out as well for now. We'll come back to this after we create the three different scripts, and we will comment this out for now as well. Probably going to remove that anyways. So now we have our condition reward, and we've changed our name for the menu item. Next step is the quest reward editor. So we're going to copy that script and of course just change these three sections right here. So I'm going to find the point reward editor. We're going to duplicate that and call this one condition reward editor. And it's best to keep the names similar. It's easier for sure. And then we're just going to paste in condition reward. Is that the only two things? No, this one right here. Now we still need a drawer, so we're going to have to create that. So I'm just going to save that. There's going to be an error here that will resolve itself once we create the last one, which is our quest reward drawer. So we'll copy the point reward drawer and we'll call it a condition reward drawer. And let's load that up. Point reward is going to be condition reward. And in our docs, we can see that there's the can handle, show specific data, and then the show data itself all needs these changed as well. We're going to comment out the section in here as well. And then for these, we're just going to delete these. We won't be using them. All right, clear out all those warnings. And so now let's navigate to where we want to keep the quest rewards. So we're going to open up our demo game projects and we will look at the quest rewards, examples, and docs. So we're going to create game modules, quest reward, condition reward. That's right here. And we're going to call this heroism. We'll call it hero and condition just to make it more clear what it is. If you notice, the name here changes to be whatever the name is here. And if we were to change it here, then it would also change the name of the scriptable object as well. Those will stay the same, and the description is there. Now this is showing because this is common to all quest rewards. This is just common data, the name and description is available for everything. So while this is empty, we can look at the point reward one and see what we're going to be doing. Something similar to this. It's going to be a custom script, editor scripting, and we're going to do that right over here inside the quest or condition reward drawer. You can see some of the stuff here. And so let's kind of use the same pattern here. We are using the Infinity editor for this. These are a whole bunch of editor classes or editor methods that you can use just to make it easier to write editor scripts. It's what I use for my stuff. So we're going to do the same thing here. And we're going to make this be condition rewards and a message box. This is going to be that message box right here. Add conditions, rewards here. Each reward object contains a list of rewards with additional options. Here we go. And the recipient will gain each condition in this list. All right. And we will remove these, and we're going to do a show header, passing quest reward. We're going to do a show conditions, quest reward, and then finally a show add conditions, quest reward. Now we'll just create these one at a time here. So there are a lot of ways you can do an add button. You could just have an add button that shows a pop-up where you can choose a file. You can make a drop-down list and a search results box. I think for this we're just going to make an object field and an add button. And so let's go ahead and start that. We're going to say var new condition is going to be object. So we are going to put an object which is going to be null, and object type and false. Okay, let's just do that. We're going to do null, and object type is going to be type of condition, and then we're going to say false for the, I guess we don't need to say that, it's already default as condition. And then we're going to say if it's null, then return. But before that, we need to do start row, and that's a horizontal row. And then here we will do end row, and before the condition, before the object field, we're going to say label add condition. I am using GitHub Copilot, which is why things just pop up sometimes. It's a nice little tool. So we're going to add condition, and we're going to make this a width of 150. And for this one, we're actually going to make it a width of maybe 200 or so. And we'll check that out. And then if it's a new condition, we're going to add that to the list. So let's just look at this first. All right, we have some not implemented methods, so let's just quickly comment those out as well. All right, so now we have an add condition, and you can choose conditions here, and they would technically be added to the list, but of course we haven't added that functionality yet. I also like to make my backgrounds yellow for this kind of stuff, so we're going to say background color equals color.yellow, and then reset color. That's the kind of the design language that I like to use. Yellow means something you can modify or add or something. So if there is a new condition, then we are going to add it. We're going to be adding it to the condition reward here. So what we need is a place to put it. So we're going to say public list condition conditions equals new list condition, but we will, of course, fix our spelling of condition. So now we have a list and a place to put it. Go back to the drawer here, and we'll say otherwise, if it's not null, we're going to say quest reward dot conditions dot add condition, or add a new condition. There we go. But we also want to make sure that it's not already in the list. So we're going to say if quest reward dot conditions dot contains new condition, then return. That way there can only be one in the list. All right, so now we've got that yellow. So let's go and add disease and exhausted, and it doesn't, they might be drawing to the list, and we can look down here and we can see that disease and extra health did get added to the list. This is, of course, the draw default inspector. It's always going to be present here as well. And everything that we're doing up here, you can also do down here with the default inspector. And so you don't really have to create a custom inspector if you don't want to, but it is a lot prettier and more fun to use once you're using it. All right, so let's go ahead and now draw these. We know that two of them have been added, so we got to draw them so they display there. We're going to start with the header, and we're going to start with an X button just to remove them from the list, and so that's going to be a width of 25. So first we're going to do a start row, and then whenever you do a start row or start horizontal, always do an end. It's easy to forget sometimes. So we're going to start with a label that is just blank and for 25 wide. That's going to be underneath that is going to be a X button. So at the same time, perhaps we can just show the conditions here. So we're going to say if X button, then we're going to delete the condition. And then next to that, we're going to have a label condition, and we'll make this 150. And here we will do the same thing. This is actually going to be a for each. So for each var condition in quest reward dot conditions. We're going to do all this stuff inside that for loop. And so after the close button, we're going to say object field, and we'll do a condition here and type of dot condition, not dot, but condition. And we'll just leave that there. So this won't be you won't be able to update it with this view, but it will allow you to click into it if you'd like to see where it is. We can make this smaller here, but okay, so now we can click into these if we want to see where they are. We can't change them. Changing it won't do anything because we didn't do that, and we didn't do the code yet for deleting it. So let's go ahead and fix that. We're going to make the size of this to be 150 to match the header, and then we're going to delete the button. Now before we do that, we need a undo reward here. So we're going to say undo.record object, and we're going to say quest reward is the object being recorded, and we're going to say undo condition change. That should allow us to have an undo if we accidentally delete one of these. And we could also, in fact, have one of these here to undo condition add as well. All right, so let's do this delete button here. If we click that button, then we're going to tell quest reward to conditions, can remove condition, and before we return, we're not going to return, we're just going to say exit GUI. So exit GUI tells the inspector to just stop drawing. It won't throw an error. If you don't do the exit GUI and you remove something like this, then it will throw an error. So just do exit GUI and it will redraw the next frame with this removed. Let's have a look here. That should, the undo worked. We can add something else, add slow. Undo worked there. And so we said heroism. I think I didn't actually make a heroism. So we're going to say haste instead. And we're going to just change this to haste condition. Now to use the condition in a quest, let's just add it to this first quest so we can make sure it's actually working. And we're going to have to code for that as well, what to do with the gain reward. Let's open up our quests here, and we're going to look at they have 100 gold. When we look at the quest rewards, we see that there's already some rewards here, negative 100 gold. You have to have 100 gold and pay her, so there's a negative 100 gold. You lose that 100 gold as a reward. Rewards don't have to be good. And you get 200 experience here. So now our reward shows up in our drop-down list here. We can add that, and you see the same details are here. If we change the values here, then they will also change in our example rewards in our object here. So if you do make any updates on the quest itself, then the updates will happen on the quest reward as well. So now that should happen when we resolve the quest. The only other thing here is that our quest reward, this give reward gets called, and right now it does nothing. So we have to add that. Let's go ahead and delete this. So we're going to know that we have our list of conditions here. We have our IUseGame module owner. So we are going to convert that to an I have conditions owner. All right. And then we're going to say for each of our condition in conditions, and for our condition owner, we're going to say add condition. And this asks for a UID and an I have stats source. We don't have a source for this. This condition is going to be sourceless, but we will add it in our condition.uid and close that off. Now, if we look at the I have conditions, you can see that this is required to have an add condition. And if we look at our implementation here, we can see that this is in the game modules actor. If you're inheriting from game modules actor, this is what will be called. You can see that it transfers this to receive condition with the game condition, new game condition of that condition. Adding it to the conditions list. This is a game conditions list, and then the source, if it's not null, will be there. All right, so let's go ahead and delete all this other stuff. We can shorten that up because there's only one thing happening. Now, one thing to note before we go and check out if this works, in the party-based RPG, there's actually 4 characters, and the entity, the object that's going to receive this condition, is not any of those. It's actually the game data here. And the game data has on it these 4 players. It's 0 right now because we haven't loaded the data, but there will be 4 here. And so I've made a method on game data, which itself is an I have conditions object with add condition that takes in the UID just like the game module's actor does. But instead, it goes through each player and gives each player that condition. So all players should get the condition at the same time, and then it just returns null because it does have to return a gave condition, so we're going to return null out of that. So let's give it a try. All right, so in the demo scene here, we're going to talk to her, but first let's just give ourselves some gold. The quest is that you have to have at least 100 gold, so we have 127. So let's go ahead and give her a talk here.
You thought you did well.
All right, so
do you have it? Ready to give me the sweet, sweet gold?
So now when I click this, we're going to see a few things happen. We're going to see the party gold go down from 152 to just 52. We're going to see experience go up by 50. The experience we're actually gaining is 200, but similar to how the conditions are being given to each character, the experience, which is 200, is going to be divided equally between all characters. So they'll each get 50 experience, and we should see the haste condition show up here.
Huh? That worked.
There we go.
Okay.
So now we've got...
I think I should buy a boat. See you later, sucker.
So now we've got our gold down there, our experience here, and our haste added there. And it was added for each character as we cycle through the different characters. And that is how you make a quest reward. It's very simple. There's not much code involved. In fact, just to reiterate, really, for the editor, you just need to change some of the types here. For the drawer, you just need to change the types. And if you don't want to make a custom inspector, you don't have to. You can use that default inspector to manage it. Or you can make a custom inspector, which I always like. And then the actual give reward was really just a couple lines of code here where we just gave it out, and then our game data divided up to each player. So not much code involved, and now we can give conditions as a reward for quests whenever we want. And of course, that quest reward script can be used in other objects as well. We don't have to use quest rewards only in quests. You can add them to any custom object that you have and use them as a reward system for anything else. So there's a lot of opportunity for you there, and I hope that you make good use of it. Let me know what you think. Come join the Discord. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and you can find Game Modules 4 on the Unity Asset Store. Have a great day. Thanks.